Hello everyone. I was sitting here quietly when Thwaite came in with something in his mouth and he dropped it and it clattered on the floor. And I said, "What's that, Thwaite?" And I leant down and picked it up and it was a measuring tape. And I said, "Well, Thwaite, why are you bringing me that?" And he said, "Because I'm a bit concerned about my intelligence. Could you measure it, please?" And I said, "Well, Thwaite, you can't measure intelligence like that. It doesn't have a length." "Oh," he said, "well, does it have a volume, in litres or decilitres or something? Because people talk about how great one's intelligence is, how much there is of it." And I said, "No, you can't measure it in litres for its volume, and you can't measure it for its weight, even if people say you have a weighty intelligence." "Oh, well," said Thwaite, "given that there's so much talk about it, can you please tell me how it is measured?" And I said, "Well, people normally judge that by what you do with your intelligence. For instance, you might do arithmetic." "Oh," said Thwaite, "that's no good. I don't do arithmetic at all." And so I said, "Well, there are other ways too. So they might be looking at how you speak and your use of languages." "Well," Thwaite said, "you know me. I don't do English, and I don't do any other European languages either. I just have my own way of communicating." So I said, "Well, Thwaite, that's quite interesting, really, because if you've got a way of communicating, you must have intelligence." "Oh," said Thwaite, "that's a relief. I was beginning to think I didn't have any intelligence at all. But I know all sorts of things. I know about the treacle mines at Tadley, for instance. Did you know about those?" And I said, "Well, not really." "Oh, well," he said, "there are treacle mines. I heard about them, but in fact I think they ought to be described as treacle wells, because treacle is a liquid like oil, and we have oil wells, so I think we should have treacle wells too. And I have heard that they're at Tadley, which is on the way to Basingstoke, and there's a Methodist church there, actually. I don't know if the treacle well is near the Methodist church or even in it, but anyway, there it is. It exists." "Does it?" I said. "You sure? Or is it a myth? Is it just something that people talk about?" Well, Thwaite said, I'm interested you mentioned that, because people do say things which are not factually true, but which may have a lot of meaning in them." So I was beginning to get out of my depth here, because, when Thwaite gets philosophical, you have to run pretty fast to keep up. So I said, "Well, Thwaite, you have got intelligence. There are lots of things you know how to do. You know how to find things in the woods, and you know about other creatures, where they are, and you can sniff them out, and you come to conclusions. But I think your main intelligence is emotional. You understand how everybody's feeling." Well, at this point, Thwaite began to get a bit embarrassed by the compliments. He was slightly depressed by the idea that he didn't have intelligence at all, but much more embarrassed by these compliments about emotional intelligence. And so he put his head under my arm. "But just a minute, let's excavate it again. Thwaite, come on up. Come on." So, Thwaite, you are very good at understanding how other people feel. And that is a huge advantage, because it means that you've got empathy. And what Jesus asks us to do in our daily lives is to go around and notice if people are suffering. And you do that very well. You immediately notice if somebody's feeling down and you go and you sit by them, or even you rest your head against them like that. That's what you're doing now, because what you're doing is you're showing solidarity. So you don't just go and show solidarity to everyone. You notice how they're feeling and then you try and help. And this, Thwaite, is a God-given gift.